Welcome to Beyond the Scale, the show where everyday heroes tell their stories on how they turn their lives around for the healthier. I'm Coach Brittany, and today's guest is Cara Eckerman. She'll be talking about facing the odds, overcoming obstacles, and not letting your past dictate your future. Hope you enjoy. Welcome, Cara Eckerman. I'm so excited to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm so happy to hear about your story and where you come from, and just share that with our audience and get some insight from you.
I'm excited.
So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you currently do?
Sure, absolutely. So originally, my husband and I are from Texas. Okay. We have lived here in Chino Hills for seven years now. And we have 3 Fit Body Bootcamp locations and 2 cats. And we're just really trying to make an impact in our communities through health and fitness, and just trying to make, the world a better, healthier, happier place.
Yeah, I love that. I love the path that you've chosen in life. Yeah. But I want to take a few steps back and kind of talk about where you come from. Sure. You said you grew up in Texas.
Yes.
So can you tell us a little bit about your childhood growing up?
Yeah, so I don't know, really where to begin. It was definitely, I think, when you're in something that is challenging or not normal, you don't always recognize that. You're just kind of sometimes trying to survive or just to get by. So now that I'm 35 years old and, just doing deep work on myself so I can be the best person I can be for my team and for my husband as a friend and for the communities, I've had to do a lot of work to be my best self. And I kind of look back and think, there was this big old crash, and somehow I came out. I somehow survived. My parents were kind of off and on addicted to alcohol and drugs, and that played, a big factor in just kind of day-to-day life. So that was really hard. My dad had his own business for a little bit, and just due to, from my understanding, the economy and things like that, he had to shut it down. So that was a huge, financial hit to our family. My mom was always a stay-at-home mom, and I had 3 brothers. And so, them going through that with the addiction aspect and then the financial aspect together created a huge, for whatever reason, I took on a huge burden looking back, where I felt the need to kind of rescue them or protect my brothers or just kind of save the situation. But when you're so young, you can't really do that. It's not your responsibility, but for whatever reason, I took upon myself that that's what I wanted to do. We bounced checks from, not having, money for things like food and just the basic necessities. That was something we struggled with a lot, from just, my younger years. I remember we lost a house and we moved, had cars taken away, repossessed, just things that I think was normal for me.
Right, because you don't know any better. That's what you grow up in, so you don't know what the other alternatives are out there.
You really don't. And, and it bled in through to my college years as well. I left college multiple times just because I wasn't able to survive. Eviction notices, not being able to eat, despite, I worked. I always worked. So as soon as I turned 15, I was working, or when I was younger, I would take on babysitting jobs to do whatever I could to, help in any way I could, pay a light bill or pay help with food or just contribute any way I could, like for my lunches, my brother's lunches, things like that. And it was like a huge struggle to leave to go to college. I knew that I needed to do that for myself for whatever reason, and I felt like I abandoned them. So there was a lot of times where I would just, I would, stop a semester or withdraw from school and go home. And, my entire family, my mom, my dad, my brothers, they were living in a trailer, like a two or three bedroom like trailer in a trailer park. We were all living there, and it was just like a struggle. It was really tough.
So taking on that role at a very young age, that responsibility, I mean, that has to be a huge burden. How did you feel emotionally, or how did that affect your mindset at that point?
I think that at one point I remember just everything seemed just like I couldn't win. Like no matter what I did, I couldn't come out the other side of like the mountain. It was like I just started to accept that this is the way my life's going to be. I'm meant to struggle. I am meant to, go through challenges and hardships, and, mentally, emotionally, you accept those things, and it takes a toll on you, and it breaks you. You feel like, at one point I remember thinking like, I know there's good things about me, but like I'm just kind of like scattered into like pieces like everywhere, and I don't even know where to begin to try to pick up the pieces to move on with my life.
Okay, so going through college, what was your self-image like at that point?
Oh my gosh, it was so tough because, I went to a school that I probably had no business going to. Honestly, it was it was an expensive school. I had to take out loans and just all different kinds of things just to get by. And I didn't have a car. I didn't have money to do any of the extra things, which is all fine, but it just seems like everybody else out there had everything. Whereas I was just like, to go to class and try to pass a test when you know that you go home, like you're gonna go to your apartment and have an eviction notice on your apartment. Like that is just like, I just didn't have any self-image. Like I didn't think highly of myself. I did not take care of myself. I oftentimes would, if I had money, I would binge eat. Like I would binge eat by myself. And then on times when I didn't have money and things just seemed super out of control, I would control my way of control was like I wouldn't eat. Like I would over-exercise, or I would, and just not eat. I would spend like hours at the rec center, and partly because I had a pass and I had no money, and that's just what I did. I was very closed off. I didn't, it's just like, I don't even know really who I was, if that makes any sense.
No, yeah, I can imagine, I do commend you for even taking that step to go to college and knowing that, you needed to do that for yourself for whatever reason.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think that is definitely a big step to take, and that, ultimately skyrocketed your success to where you are now.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I get like anxiety, like just thinking about all those days, and
Yeah, it definitely sounds like the odds were stacked against you, but you pulled through and you made it. So what was the journey like, getting through all that? What was the turning point that really helped you turn things around for the positive and, start to think more highly of yourself?
Yeah. I think when you're going through challenges, things seem so like, I feel like for me anyways, that challenges feel either like immense and monumental, or they feel like that's just life. And for me, it was like a mixture of both. But my biggest turning point was definitely when I met John, my husband, that was a huge turning point. That was the turning point in my life.
Okay.
Like 100%, hands down. He loved me unconditionally. He struggled with a lot of things himself, and he just, the compassion, the understanding, like just everything about him, just to be loved just for who I am, it just, yeah, he saw the good in me.
Right.
And that kind of helped me to take those little pieces and start to put myself back together.
That's amazing.
For sure.
So let's take a few steps back. How did you and John meet?
We met at a bar. We met at a bar in College Station called the Corner Bar.
Okay.
Yep, we met at a bar called the Corner Bar.
You can't find true love at a bar. So
Absolutely. So if you take nothing from this, like, you know, you can find love at a bar. Yeah, so that's where we met, and it was really tough too, because I knew that I loved this guy and he was my best friend, but I was super fearful because you don't want to, or for me anyway, I didn't want to immediately reveal who I really was or what I'd been through and, you know, all of that, because that's scary, you know, that's, you know, kind of pulling the curtains back, so to speak. And if he knows, will he still love me if he, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so, you know, that took like time as well for me to share things with him and, you know, to see where I come from. And he was like, who you are? Like, Cara, like, that's not normal, Cara. So he, and you know, instead of thinking negatively on me or judging me, he like embraced me, I feel like even more, loved me even more, and, you know, supported me like in whatever it was. So
that is awesome that you found that support system in him. I mean, it can be tough not having people around you that are there for you, that love you, like you said, for who you are.
Absolutely.
And now you said you had brothers.
I do.
Do you?
I do. I have 3 brothers, and I forgot to ask if it was okay if I cried.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
But we don't talk.
Okay. That has to be tough, and I'm sorry to hear that.
So,
but you know, just if you keep working on you and they keep seeing that, you never know, things can always turn around, and
for sure,
you know, for the better. At the end of the day, you can only be as good as you can be for yourself.
For sure.
So that way you can turn around and help others.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. And as tough as that is, you know, like I'm still a work in progress. So
we all are. We all are.
For sure. So, you know, never say never.
Yeah. Got to keep that open mind. I mean, like when you were growing up, you didn't necessarily know that you would ever be to where you are now, and look at now. So you.
No, like I never ever could imagine, you know, even in my 20s, like I could never imagine what it would be like to go to the grocery store and like just be able to like buy groceries and not worry about could I afford them? Like, could I, like to be able to have gas or to purchase gas to get to where I need to go is like, for me, it's huge. Being able to pay my mortgage is just like, I never take any of that for granted, like ever, like the necessities that we need in like life. I don't take any of it for granted. Like I'm so appreciative because for so long, that was never a given. Like you just never knew one day to the next. I mean, there were multiple times that I was trying to get to work and I wouldn't have gas, or I would run out of gas, like, you know, $0.
Right.
So yeah, I never in a million years would have guessed that I would be here.
Well, I think your gratefulness and everything that you are as a person definitely helps inspire other people and, continue on their journeys to become the best versions of themselves.
For sure.
So if you had one piece of advice to give our listeners that are also, feel like they have the odds stacked against them, what would you tell them?
Yeah, I feel like, the biggest thing is, it's nothing, I guess, profound or something you haven't heard before, but I feel like, when I look back now, being 35 and reflecting on things, trying to overcome, just little things here and there, is that don't stop. Like, do not give up. Keep going. I look back now on all the things that I've gone through, and the biggest thing is I just didn't stop. I don't know whether it was survival mode or if it was just me knowing deep down inside there was more for me, that I was meant to make an impact, but just don't stop. Keep going one day at a time, and really find your people. Find people who love you unconditionally, people who will cheer for you. For me, I have our team. I have our fitness family that are inspirational to me, who love me, support me. I have John, obviously, who I've mentioned. I have my best friend in my life who is always there for me, and I have those people that, that are there for you, because that's really what's, and it's, don't search for, all of these different things. It's just keep it simple, have those people, have a support, have people you can talk to, and keep going, because it does get better. It gets better. I say that from personal experience. I say it just from also seeing other people in my life that I know who've gone through a lot of things and have come out the other side. It's just don't stop. Just keep on keeping on.
I think that's beautiful advice. Thank you for sharing that with
Yeah.
us. So I want to talk about empowerment. You seem very empowered. What is the root of that? What makes you feel so empowered?
Oh my gosh. I think it's just knowing now my purpose, and knowing that I have gone through everything that I've gone through. Like I was telling John last night when we were kind of talking about what I was going to be doing here today, and I mentioned the plane crash analogy, and I do feel like it's I can see it. Like I walked away from it, and I didn't just come this far to come this far. I want to help other people, and I want to make every person that I come in contact with, I want to make them smile. I want to make them better. I want to help them. I want to love them up. That's just what I think makes me feel empowered. And knowing that it's not just me. I have this team of people that I work with every single day who gives me chills, but that's my family. Okay. Oh, I don't get, but yeah, I work with these people, and we're just all on this mission together. And it goes from the leaders on our team to the people behind the scenes on our team, to John, to the coaches, to the members in our community. And we're just all on this journey together to make this impact. And I'm passionate about it. And I see that we can just make the world a better place. And now more than ever, I believe deep down in my heart of hearts that, we need that more than ever in this world. So whether it's, within the walls of, our facilities where people come, they feel safe, supported, and loved, you that's just me, and that's me and my purpose and what I'm here on this earth to do.
I love that. I mean, you are definitely making a huge difference, not only in the community, but also, I mean, here today. I know you're inspiring so many of our listeners, so I appreciate that. So John has always been your support. Has John ever struggled where you have to help John and be John's backbone and support?
Yes, yeah, for sure. Definitely there, some tough times, and he carries a different kind of burden in, I think is wanting to like take care of me and take care of everyone in his life. He takes a big burden in that aspect, and sometimes I feel, suffers in silence. And so, yeah, I feel like I'm kind of the crazy ball of energy, like the Care Bear stare that like needs to come in and shake it up a little for him. But yeah, we just support each other, and I hope I do. I think I do. But yeah.
Now you talked about suffering in silence. I think, myself, I have been through that. I'm sure a ton of our listeners have either gone through that or are currently going through that. Do you have any advice on how to, get out of that and talk about any issues or problems to make themselves better?
For sure. From personal experience, I think I've always struggled with, there's a stigma on like struggling, or there's a stigma on what you've gone through in your past. And it's like your past doesn't have to dictate your future. Your struggles don't have to make you stagnant in life. And it's knowing that, and it's saying, hey, okay, there is no shame in suffering. And there's no shame in asking for help, be it from a professional, be it from, a friend, a family member. It's just taking that step and knowing that being accountable to yourself, there's a sense of you have to take ownership in your actions and things like that, and just saying, hey, am I my best self? Do I want to be my best self? How do I want these struggles to impact the rest of my life? And you make a choice. And like make that choice to ask for help. Make that choice to know that it's okay, and to love yourself enough and love the other people in your life enough to reach out and to do the hard things, and working on yourself, be it, big or small, doesn't matter, because, at the end of the day, we all deserve to live our best lives.
Absolutely.
And don't let anything hold you back from feeling your best. And yeah, I think that's kind of how I feel about that.
Yeah, so you definitely have taken the opposite path in life. You made that decision that you were not going to let your past dictate your future. So how has that, I know that's definitely changed you mentally. How has that changed you physically? How has it changed your fitness journey?
Yeah, so a lot of people don't, know. I talk to people on such a day-to-day basis about health and fitness, and people don't know that I used to be 40, 45 pounds heavier than I am today. So, I'm shorter person, and that's a lot of weight to carry. Up until about 8 years ago, I never wore jeans, ever wore jeans. I remember John once was like, how come you never wear jeans? Like, just innocent question. Because I always wore like leggings and those flowy baby doll dresses that now like I would never wear because they are so unflattering, Cara. Don't wear those. But that's just what I wore because things didn't fit. I didn't love myself. I yo-yo dieted. I did so much cardio because that's what I thought I needed to do, and then I would binge eat, and then I would not eat. just depending on where I was in my life. So, it caught up to me, and I was, I was not at a healthy, place at all. And once I started finding who I wanted to be and who I was and what I was meant to do in life, I naturally started to take better care of myself. I naturally started to, and it wasn't any specific diet or anything like that. It was just loving myself and treating it the way it should be treated, fueling it with good stuff and moving it and good thoughts, because that seriously makes such a difference. And once I started doing that, I feel like I was having an internal transformation, but the outside also reflected that as well.
Got it. So definitely finding your worth is what, changed you mentally, physically, just all around, and turned you into this beautiful human being.
Absolutely. Well, thank you.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, inside and outside, look at you. You look great.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So it definitely seems like you are the boss of your body now, inside and out.
Yes.
Any tips, if you had one tip that you can give our listeners that they can do today to start making that change to be a boss for their body, what would that be?
Take a second and really look deep into yourself and find your why. Why do you need to be the best version of you? Why do you want to live your best life? And it needs to be super deep. It needs to be not anything about a weight or a number on a scale. It needs to be something so deep, and figure that out and let that fuel you to make that change, be it with your nutrition, your exercise, because you can always go back to that. And that's something for me, my why got me started, and it keeps me going, even on the toughest days. So dig deep and be honest about it, and let it help you do you.
Awesome. Yes, that's great advice. I love it. I feel so empowered just talking to you. Okay, so now to kind of piggyback on what you just said, what does living beyond the scale mean to you?
Oh my gosh, such a good question. We as a society, there's so much just pressure and things like that on a number on the scale. And I was actually looking at my scale this morning when I was blow drying my hair, and I'm I hate that thing. I really do, because people step on that scale and they allow it to, they give this thing so much power, and it's not about the pounds you lost. It's not about the inches you've lost. Awesome, great things, but that's a sliver of what it's about. It's about the life you gain, the strength you gain, the confidence you gain, the self-worth that you gain. It's all of the things that you gain in your life that are better because you're on this journey. And the scale doesn't tell that story. The scale doesn't tell, that you're gonna have the strength to, and these are real life things that I've seen, doesn't tell that you have the strength to leave an abusive relationship. It doesn't tell, the fact that you have the confidence now to travel on an airplane because you fit comfortably in a seat. The scale doesn't tell that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you can't let, the number stop you from keep on keeping on. You got to keep going. You got to keep up with those behaviors that are going to ultimately make that difference. So for me, in a nutshell, it's a life you gain, not what you lose.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Those of you listening today, remember, if you don't know where to start, just start by finding your why. If you are in the Southern California area, Cara, where can they come and visit you and your program?
Yes, oh my gosh, I would love anybody that is watching or listening to come visit with us and our team. We have location in Chino Hills, California, location in Laverne, California, and Brea, California as well.
And for those of you that aren't in the Southern California area, if you want to check out a Fit Body Bootcamp, you can visit fitbodybootcamp.com to find a location near you to get your 3 free sessions. It was a pleasure having you on the show today.
you.
Thank you so much, Cara. You have inspired not only me, but I'm sure many of our listeners.
Yeah,
And
I hope so.
yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you for everything.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for having
Of
me.
course.
Thank you for tuning in to the Beyond the Scale podcast. Make sure you follow us on social media so that way you don't miss an episode. Each week we have a new guest that's going to encourage you to live beyond the scale with a fit body, fit mind forever.